The Cup Series season is halfway complete. Has your favorite driver met, exceeded, or fallen short of preseason expectations? How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to an extended episode of Out of the Groove. Happy July 4th. Happy Independence Day to everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Today, we are going to talk about every single NASCAR Cup Series driver. Back in February, just before the Daytona 500, I did a similar video like this where I sort of riffed for almost an hour, talked about all 36 chartered drivers, discussed their goals and expectations for the 2025 season. Right now, we are 18 races into the year, exactly halfway through the points-paying NASCAR Cup Series season. So I figured it would be a good time to check in on every single driver, talk a little about how their season has gone to this point. Again, like I said earlier, are they meeting, exceeding, or falling short of preseason expectations? Hope you'll follow along at home. Let's get started. We'll go from team to team, beginning with Joe Gibbs Racing, because a lot of fans wrote off Denny Hamlin this year, and I understand why to an extent. He was winless the entire second half of last season, lost two major sponsors. Crew chief was gone. He's the oldest full-time driver in the NASCAR Cup Series now that Harvick and Martin Truex Jr. had retired. A lot of fans believed Denny Hamlin would be on the decline. Not me, though. Not me. I predicted way back in February that Denny Hamlin would continue his trend of winning 3 or more races, deep playoff run. He's got 3 wins already, poised to make a deep run. I'd say I've been dead on my Denny Hamlin prediction thus far. He missed a race, damn it, and is still tied for 4th in the regular season points. That's how good the veteran Denny Hamlin has been. In my opinion, few drivers, not sure anyone, maybe Larson, maybe Logano winning a couple championships. A few drivers have transformed their legacy since 2020 like Denny Hamlin has. Like, think of it this way. Back in 2019, Denny Hamlin was already a Hall of Famer. He'd won 30 plus cup races. I think he had a couple Daytona 500s by that point. He'd won some other crown jewels, but I would have considered Hamlin kind of in this tier between Matt Kenseth and Dale Jr. Like both Hall of Famers, elite company, don't get me wrong, but that's the range. In 2019, I would have put Denny Hamlin all time. But now, since 2020, 2 things have jumped out at me about Denny Hamlin: his longevity and his adaptability. Think of it this way. He has 20 cup wins since the start of 2020. Insane numbers. He's done that with several radically different rules package, 550 horsepower, 750 horsepower. He's done that in the Gen 6. He's done that in the Gen 7, the next gen car. He's done it with 2 different crew chiefs, and we've watched some of his contemporaries, some of his rivals from the previous era, Kyle Busch, Truex, Harvick, Keselowski. They've struggled to adapt to this new car, to this new era. Not Denny Hamlin. Not only is Denny Hamlin still winning races regularly in his 40s, he's adapted to a radically different style of car, better than his contemporaries. Denny Hamlin was a Hall of Famer 6 years ago, no doubt. But now he is a clear-cut first ballot Hall of Famer. I would have put him behind Matt Kenseth 6 years ago. Now he is certainly better all time than Matt Kenseth. I'm a Kenseth fan. I can say that. Hamlin is now closer to Kyle Busch all time, who some consider a top 10 driver. He's in that tier now, whereas 6 years ago, he wasn't. Denny Hamlin just continuing to deliver well into his 40s, different car, different crew chief, different sponsors, does not matter. Same old Denny Hamlin. One thing I guess Hamlin fans hope isn't the same is they hope he can close out and win a championship this year. That would, of course, put his career over the top. His teammates, I have less to say about his teammates, but we'll move on to Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell, hot start to begin the 2025 season. 3 wins in a row. Obviously, we all know that. Then he won an all-star race a little later on. He's top 5 in points, or he's tied for 4th with Denny, I believe. He only has 1 stage win this year and only 153 laps led, which I found interesting. He's actually on pace to lead almost 800 fewer laps than he did last year, which is pretty crazy to me. But he's got a 12.1 average finish. That would be a career best. It looked early on like Bell was bound to explode this season. but that hasn't really happened. He just looks like a championship contender once again, which he has now for 2 or 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row now. So, I would say if we're talking expectations, Christopher Bell has certainly met lofty expectations so far this year, but for a brief period, it looked like he was going to exceed even our highest expectations. Ty Gibbs, year 3 for Ty Gibbs. He's now made over 100 Cup Series starts, but is still looking for his first win. Joe Gibbs Racing had to bring Chris Gabehart off the bench this past week to work with his crew chief. That just shows you how things are going over at the number 54 team. I do think Ty Gibbs's first win is coming sooner rather than later. Could have a great opportunity these next few weeks with a couple of road course races coming up. JGR has been good at Indianapolis in the past. Ty Gibbs did not make the playoffs his rookie year. That's fine. He's a rookie. Expectations were low. He did make the playoffs last year, took a step forward. Great. This year, the goal was to take another leap, to win a race and make the playoffs that way for a change. And so far, Ty Gibbs has fallen short of those expectations. But again, shown a little better speed lately. Chris Gabehart calling the shots, helping with strategy, can only help the 54 team. So look for Ty Gibbs here the next few weeks, maybe to go on a small summer surge, you might say. And then the final Joe Gibbs Racing car will end with the new guy, Chase Briscoe. Replaced Martin Truex Jr. in that 19 car. Truex, a future Hall of Famer himself, same crew chief. James Small still on the box. While Briscoe maybe hasn't been quite as consistent as we all hoped, he does have a win, Pocono, a couple weeks ago. He's top 10 in the regular season points. My goal coming into this year for Chase Briscoe was to win a race. Truex failed to win a race 2 of the last 3 years. Goal number 1 for Briscoe, win a race. He's done that. Check. Going to be in the playoffs. I think now the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, would be winning multiple races, would be making a deep playoff run. We'll see if they can do that. I'm a little skeptical because they have been somewhat inconsistent, but overall, I like where this team is at. Don't love, but I like where this team's at. Again, meeting expectations. Well done, Chase Briscoe. Okay, that's Joe Gibbs Racing. Let's talk about Team Penske, because Team Penske started strong this year. As usual, they were fast at Daytona, fast at Atlanta. Then Josh Berry, out of the Penske shop, wins at Las Vegas. Austin Cindric wins Talladega. Joey Logano wins Texas. But since that hot start, it's been kind of iffy, been kind of up and down. We'll get to Cindric and Berry in a moment, but I just want to talk about Joey Logano first and foremost. Dude has 4 top 10 finishes this year. We're 18 races in, and the defending champion has only 4 top 10s. Can I just say, that's awful. That's terrible. Everyone talked last year about how mediocre he was, a non-deserving champion. He's been worse this season somehow. He's on pace for fewer wins, fewer top 5s, fewer top 10s. He's on pace for fewer pole awards. He has led, or he's on pace to lead more laps, so I'll give him that. But what happened to Joey Logano? Yes, he's won 2 championships the past 3 years, been really strong the final 2 months of the season, but his overall performance is nothing like what it was 10 years ago. Man, 10 years ago, Joey Logano, with I think Todd Gordon at the time was his crew chief, was winning 5 or 6 races a year. Remember in 2015 when he swept the round of 12 in the playoffs, won all 3 races, and was going to win Martinsville until who happened? What happened to that version of Joey Logano? The dominant Joey Logano. He's still good in the playoffs. He knows how to win the right races, rise up in the big moments. But from February to September, last few years, Joey Logano has been not good. We talk a lot about how Kyle Busch struggling to adjust to this car, maybe Chase Elliott to a degree struggling to adjust to this car. What about Joey Logano? I guess his struggles are masked by the 2 Bill France Cups he has now on his shelf to join his 2018 championship trophy, but from February to September, he's no better than Busch. He's worse than Elliott, statistically, I would say, maybe outside of a win or 2. I don't know. Weird, though, that Joey Logano, despite all the hardware on his shelf, does not feel and has not felt like the number 1 guy at Team Penske in a couple of years now. That, in my opinion, is Ryan Blaney, who we can talk about next. Blaney consistently looks like the most formidable Penske force. I mean, look at just this year alone. Let me pull up the stats. He has more top 5s this year than Logano, Cindric, and Berry combined. Blaney does. And that's despite 6 DNFs, most of which not his fault. Bad luck. Caught up in other people's messes. So much speed, you assume some of that bad luck is going to go away eventually. He did win that race at Nashville a few weeks back. I want to see this team, the 12 team, win a few more races, or at least a couple more races this summer. Make a statement, enter the playoffs with more playoff points in your bag, because Ryan Blaney, I think, could be a serious dark horse championship threat. No one's talking about Blaney like they're talking about Larson or Byron or Bell or Denny even, or even Chase after Atlanta this week. And Blaney's sort of in that second tier. But if they get rid of the bad luck, if they get some of that early season speed back, Blaney, his playoff success speaks for itself. Really like what I'm seeing from the 12 car in the speed department. Austin Cindric, man. Austin Cindric feels like put aside the off-track drama with his father being fired mid-season over the IndyCar drama. Put that aside. That's not going to impact Austin Cindric, his contract for now. That may impact his future with the team in a couple of years. It's not going to impact him right now. So put that aside. It feels like Cindric is having a better season than last year, but the numbers, when I pulled them up earlier, suggest it's more of the same. He's trending towards having the same number of top 10s. He's actually trending towards fewer top 5s. Slightly better average finish than last year, 19.6. Got that win again at Talladega. Finally finished the job at one of these super speedway tracks. I don't know. I guess I'm waiting for Cindric to take that big leap. This is his 4th year. He's not the youngest guy in the garage anymore. Far from it. Like, at some point, you're in Team Penske equipment. You've been around the same group for a long time now. I want to see him take that next step. And while there were a few signs early this year that gave me confidence, they're inconsistent, as always. So I would say Cindric, he got that win, yes, not quite meeting my preseason expectations at this rate. Josh Berry, where did Josh Berry go? To start the year, Berry was the story. Consistently running top 5, top 10, won that race at Las Vegas in just his, 5th start with the Wood brothers. Huge moment. Looked like he was bound to win multiple races or be top 10, top 15 in points. What has happened to Josh Berry? I looked this up earlier. Josh Berry has only one top 10 finish the last 13 races. Yikes. Got to get more consistent. Got to finish more of these races if they're going to make any noise in the playoffs. Miles Stanley, rookie crew chief. Josh Berry, still a relatively inexperienced Cup driver. Fired off fast, but they've cooled off significantly in the summer months. But that's Penske. We've talked Gibbs. The third super team, if you will, is, of course, Hendrick Motorsports. Remember how I said Kyle Larson doesn't go through extended slumps? This is what I mean. He's gone 5 races in a row now without leading a lap. I know, the horror. He still has 3 top 10 finishes in that span. You look at his overall season, he's got the most laps led, most stage wins. He's tied for the most race wins. He's 3rd in points. I know the double was disappointing once again, and since Memorial Day weekend, Larson and Cliff Daniels haven't quite looked the same, but I think the past few years, the longest losing streak Larson has had is 8 or 9 races. They're going to win another race this summer. It could come at Indy. It could come at Sonoma. It could come at Dover. Damn it. He's good at all these tracks. They don't have a weakness, really. Even super speedways now, Larson's got a couple top 5s on the season. So I'm not too worried about Kyle Larson, Cliff Daniels, this team. They're going to figure it out. They're going to have a ton of playoff points in the bank come September, come October. Just got to get through this somewhat rough stretch, if we could even call it that. 3 top 10s in 5 weeks. That's a rough stretch. Just shows you how high the expectations are for Kyle Larson these days. William Byron, I think Atlanta was his first DNF of the year. I could be wrong. I mean, he's the points leader, been extremely consistent all season long. Only the one win, though, Daytona. That's still surprising to me. He's been so close a few other times. Bad pit stop here, ran out of fuel at Michigan there. He is second to Larson in laps led, stage wins. He's in the mix. He's going to be in championship contention like he's been the past couple of years. I think he's been in the championship 4 now, right? 2 years in a row. This could be year 3. He's likely going to win the regular season championship. William Byron's really fast, just not closing the deal like I'm sure they would like to. Chase Elliott, speaking of sealing the deal, he did just that at Atlanta the other night. He's been top 5 in points all year, but until recently, it's felt kind of like the 9 team overall is underachieving, right? It's kind of weird. Like they have 3 straight top 5 finishes. They won at Atlanta. Maybe they finally hit on something, but Larson, Byron have been atop the standings most of the year. They have the most laps led, the most stage wins, etc. Chase Elliott still doesn't have a stage win this year, which is crazy to me. I don't know. I loved seeing the emotion from Chase Saturday night, winning in front of his hometown, his home fans. Elliott said a few weeks ago that a driver in his position shouldn't be worried about making the playoffs. They instead should be worried about how many playoff points do we have. I feel like Saturday night was a huge moment. I know there was a huge wreck that took a lot of the contenders out, but Elliott, with the help of his teammate Alex Bowman, was up in the front the rest of the night. In fact, they were up at the front before the big wreck. He earned points in both stages, even before the big wreck took the contenders out. So I like what I've seen lately. The consistency has been incredible this season. Now it seems like they're finding some speed. Maybe they're going to have their own version of a summer surge. He's up to second in points now after the last 3 weeks. It's Byron, Elliott, Larson. It's a Hendrick 1, 2, 3, 12th. I had to scroll. The 12th place guy, unfortunately, is Alex Bowman. He's had 3 good races in a row now, and we're going to Chicago, which was very good to him last year. But it's so hard for me to trust Alex Bowman. The best drivers are fast and consistent. But sometimes, you can get away with being one or the other. Like for example, Kyle Larson. He's pretty inconsistent, I would say, but he is damn fast, wins a lot of races. The inconsistency doesn't really matter. Chase Elliott is the opposite. He struggled to win consistently the past couple of years, but he's extremely consistent. A lot of top 5s, a lot of top 10s. That works. You can't be both inconsistent and not fast. And unfortunately, if we're being honest, that describes Alex Bowman the past couple of years, especially this season. Alex Bowman has 1 win. It was a wet weather race that was shortened by darkness in 3.5 years. That's it. Okay, you want to take out 2023 because he was nursing a back injury? Okay, that's fine. He has 1 cup win in 2.5 years. That's still not very good. At the start of this year, I picked Alex Bowman as a dark horse to win the regular season championship, and I felt good about that pick for a while. Bowman was top 3, top 5 in points for a bit, but then they hit an inconsistent stretch. They struggled for a few weeks. Bowman was making mistakes, wrecking at Nashville, wrecking at Charlotte. No stage wins this year, which is crazy. And look, it's not all on Alex Bowman, okay? I think it's safe to say at this point, crew chief Blake Harris has not been the difference maker many thought he would be when he came over from front row a couple of years ago. So it's not all on the driver, but we know how this works. The driver is the face of the team. They get the most credit when things go well. They get most of the blame when things go bad. That's how this works. So again, the problem with this sport is you cannot be inconsistent and not win. Bowman, again, is on the playoff bubble like he is just about every year. I hope he can win a race because I do like his personality. His fans love him. But if he doesn't, if Bowman does not win a race this year, and especially if he misses the playoffs, those contract negotiations next spring are going to be very interesting. I'll leave it at that. Let's talk about 2311 Racing next, starting with Tyler Reddick. I don't know what the issue is here. This team won a regular season championship last year. It's the same group, essentially, but now they can't string together good finishes to save their life. The speed isn't far off. Like, Reddick is still 6th in points. He's earned the 4th most stage points, 0 DNF, so they're avoiding the catastrophic days. They just aren't getting the good finishes that they were last season. It's as simple as that, I guess. But these next couple of weeks are a really big opportunity. He almost won Chicago last year. He's a really good road racer. Yes, they struggled at Mexico City, but hopefully after missing it, they went back to the shop, went back to the sim, learned from their mistakes, and hopefully they correct course this weekend. Tyler Reddick, over the past few years, has been one of the best road course racers in the NASCAR Cup Series. He has 3 road course wins in the next gen era with 2 different teams. Hopefully Mexico City was just a weird blip. If they struggle at Chicago and Sonoma here these next 2 weeks, then that would be proof that something is terribly wrong over at the number 45 team. Bubba Wallace, man, remember, this is year 5 for 2311 Racing. Denny Hamlin has talked about a 5-year plan to get this team to championship contention. Reddick last year got them into that position a year early, but now this season it almost feels like for the first time ever, 23XI has regressed slightly. Focusing on Bubba Wallace, he has a new crew chief, Charles DeNike, but it's the same old story. Bubba Wallace, winless in the middle of the summer, fighting to hold on to one of the final playoff positions on points. Remember, the 23 car has never made the owners' playoffs. Like I said about Alex Bowman, you can't be inconsistent and not win. That's Bubba Wallace, unfortunately. Look, I get that he was their anchor driver, the first driver 23XI hired. I get that Michael Jordan and Denny like him. I get that sponsors obviously seem to really like him. But if Bubba Wallace misses the playoffs again, goes winless in the regular season again, yikes. I would expect fans and the industry to start talking about the 23 car the same way we like to talk about the 48, or recently, obviously, the 99. Bubba Wallace needs to make these playoffs, and he needs to win a race. The tools are all there. The people are all there. At some point, it's on the driver. Hasn't won a cup race in almost 3 years, has never won a regular season race. Got to get the job done. There's no excuse. At this point, there is no excuse. Riley Herbst, meanwhile, we can make some excuses for Riley Herbst. He's a rookie. Nobody had any high expectations for him. I've been hard on Riley Herbst because, to be honest, I didn't think he was qualified for this seat when it was first announced even. I think there were other more qualified drivers in the Toyota system. It's a money game. I get it. So I've had a short leash for Riley all year. He is 35th in points, but he's a rookie, so I'm not going to bury the guy. I just want to see him improve. I want to see him get better. Maybe this time next year, there'll be signs of life and we'll think Riley is a legit Cup Series driver. But right now, he doesn't look like a Cup Series guy. You just hope he can improve. He's only 18 races in, I suppose. So he's got some time, I guess. Who's next? I find myself often grouping all of the RFK Racing drivers together more than I do with other teams. Like Brad and Buescher, for a couple of years, they always seem to run very similar. And now Ryan Preece is there, and what do you know? He's in the mix as well, battling for a playoff spot. Chris Buescher, I like Chris Buescher, man. He's a quiet killer. Reminds me of another driver of that 17 car from years ago. He's got 4 straight top 10 finishes as of the time I'm recording this video. Remember, just 2 years ago, he won 3 races over the summer and made it to the round of 8. He's just solid all around. Intermediates, short tracks, road courses. He's just solid. I think we can say the same about Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece is finally showing the casuals what he can do, what he is capable of. I've seen it for years. I saw him win multiple Xfinity Series races on a part-time schedule years ago. I saw him win multiple truck races on a part-time schedule years ago. This is his first ever truly competitive full-time NASCAR opportunity. And what do you know? He's in the mix. Brand new, third least RFK Racing charter. And he's got them on the brink of playoff contention. Ryan Preece doing a very solid job this year, his first season with the team. Brad Keselowski, however, the boss man, started this season off horribly. But to his credit, he and his crew chief, Jeremy Bullins, have found some speed lately. I believe he has 3 top 10 finishes the past 4 races, and he almost got that win at Atlanta. Get through these road course races, and maybe coming up, there'll be some other opportunities for Brad to shock the system and make the playoffs. RFK was in the news this week because they lost longtime team president Steve Newmark, who's now joining the University of North Carolina athletic department. I'm not sure if that will be a shock to RFK's system. I don't know that it would impact their competition department all that much, but something to keep an eye on behind the scenes at Roush over the coming weeks and months. Ross Chastain, he's just good. He's just a good driver. Auto Racing Analytics, friend of the channel, still has him pegged as the best restarter in the game. That's mostly driver in that case. He's 8th in points. He won the Coca-Cola 600. The team obviously does not have as much speed as they did 2 or 3 years ago, but Ross and crew chief Phil Surgeon have this team in the mix more weeks than they don't. So Ross Chastain deserves a ton of credit there. Shane Van Gisbergen, rookie driver from New Zealand. The ovals have predictably been a struggle this year, but he finished 6th at COTA and 1st at Mexico City. Won a road course race, qualified for the playoffs, destroyed the field in Mexico City. That's what he was hired to do. Win and you're in. Shane Van Gisbergen and Trackhouse took advantage of the rule. Chicago this weekend, he's won there before, could win another race. It would not shock me if SVG has 10 to 15 playoff points come playoff time. Pretty cool story for SVG to come from New Zealand to the US, abandon his supercar racing career where he was so successful, give stock car racing an earnest try, and to have this success as a Cup rookie is pretty damn cool. Daniel Suarez, of course, we've already said so much about Suarez this week. We know now that he is not returning to Trackhouse next season. It sucks. I like Daniel a lot, but I get it. He's 29th in points. You got a talented young kid with Red Bull sponsorship and Connor Zilic waiting in the wings, ready to take that spot. I want to see Daniel finish the year strong. Maybe there will be another Cup Series opportunity that pops up. Unclear at this point. I would also love to see Daniel full-time in a competitive Xfinity Series car. That's going to take money. You got to bring money to get a competitive Xfinity Series seat these days. But Daniel has had some good sponsor support throughout his career. Hopefully they buy into the idea of Daniel racing for wins and championships in the secondary series. I would love to see it. And keep in mind, next year, free agency, silly season next year is shaping up to be a little more crazy than this year. So maybe a Cup Series opportunity will present itself to Daniel a year from now. If he spends a year in Xfinity or more, I think he'll be fun to watch at the very least. I'd love to see him win some more races. Daniel can be a little spicy. He can be aggressive. He can be very exciting, very emotional, very passionate on and off the racetrack. I want to see him up front racing for wins. He could do that in the Xfinity Series in the right situation. Let's talk about Spire Motorsports. Carson Hocevar, fast and furious. The Carson Hocevar 2025 story. He's almost won a couple of races as a 22-year-old Cup Series sophomore. He hasn't gotten a lot of good finishes, though. Some of that has been engine failure in the Coke 600, running out of gas at Michigan, then blowing a tire, I guess. He has pissed off some people, some veterans. Blaney, not a big fan of him after Atlanta in the spring. Ricky Stenhouse, of course, still owes Carson one, maybe two. But he's a man of the people. I enjoy rooting for Carson, even though he's always driven me a little crazy on the racetrack with some of his moves, some of his mistakes, some of the antics. He's a man of the people. He's watching races with fans in the stands. He's doing live streams every week on Twitch. He's exploring Chicagoland Speedway when maybe he wasn't supposed to. Just sneaks in there to get some shots, to get some good old-fashioned content. He's cool. There's a lot to like about Carson Hocevar. Off track and on track, you can't deny the speed. I thought it was interesting when we interviewed Michael McDowell a few weeks ago on the show. He admitted that sometimes he studies Hocevar's data. 40-year-old vet, Cup Series winner, is studying a 22-year-old's process and skill set. That shows you how talented Carson Hocevar really is. Would love to see him break through and get that win sometime this year, but everything has to go right, and so far that has not been the case for Spire Motorsports and the 77 team. Speaking of Michael McDowell, he's hovered around 20th in points all year long. His job joining Spire on a multi-year deal was to help build the entire organization, help the entire team get more competitive, improve. That was the expectation, and I think for the most part he has succeeded at that because the 77 has taken a leap year one to year two with Hocevar. I think the 71, which is not a new team, last year it was sort of like a Trackhouse collab, kind of struggled. I think they're a little better this year. McDowell's gotten them more competitive. He'll have a chance to win the next couple of weeks. Really good numbers at Chicago the past 2 years. Could win this weekend's race, no doubt. Michael McDowell has done a fine job so far at Spire, but I think his role with the team is more of a long-term vision, building this team up the way he built Front Row over many, many years. So far, so good. They're on the right path. Although the 7 car, which is now driven by Justin Haley, has faced unprecedented turnover in the first 18 races. A lot of fans are ready to give up on Justin Haley. Was he slightly overrated a year ago when he was running top 10 with Rick Ware, something that we'd never seen before, haven't seen since? Sure, maybe he was slightly overrated, but cut Justin Haley some slack. His current pit crew chief, and car chief are not the same group he started the season with. At the beginning of the season, Justin Haley had Rodney Childress on the box, who brought his right-hand man Cheddar Smith with him over from Stewart-Haas. Championship experience between the two of them. Haley had a great Hendrick pit crew. 9 races into the year, the car chief left, the crew chief got fired, and his pit crew got swapped with Larson's. Everything's changed. Justin Haley's starting from scratch. So cut the guy some slack. I still don't think he's truly gotten a fair, competitive shot in the NASCAR Cup Series. I'm not ready to give up on Haley just yet. Starting from scratch midway through his first full season with Spire. That's tough. That is tricky. Let's talk about some smaller teams here. RCR, 2-car team. We'll start with Kyle Busch, of course. He is 20th in points. It has been 15 races since his last top 5 finish. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? God. He's trying to drive a 20th place car into the top 10, and that's just really hard to do with the next gen car that is on a razor thin edge at pretty much all times. We've seen him overstep last year, this year, like Texas, for example, had a top 5 wrecked. Mexico City, opening laps, breaks loose, wrecks. He's just trying to do too much, frankly. It's admirable to see Kyle Busch try to get the most out of this equipment. He signed or he and RCR agreed to that 1-year extension. It really was an option. I think RCR just had to pick up the option. But because Kyle Busch knows he's with RCR for another 1.5 years plus, he's really trying to give this his full attention. He's putting in the effort, I believe, to try and make this team better. It's just not working right now, unfortunately. He was really good at Circuit of the Americas back in March, so with road courses coming up, maybe Kyle Busch could make some noise the next couple of weeks. But yeah, it's kind of sad that now it's been almost 2 years really since Kyle Busch was seriously in playoff contention, and I don't know. I don't know that I see light at the end of the tunnel right now, unless we're looking all the way out into 2027 maybe, when again, silly season will be really, really and truly silly. Austin Dillon, this year has been better than the last 2 years, no doubt. Shout out to crew chief Richard Boswell coming over from Stewart-Haas Racing, but Dillon is still 26th in points. Like, he's still not good. Doesn't have a top 5 yet this season. We know last year he popped up randomly at Richmond late in the summer and got that win. Obviously didn't count towards the playoffs because of what he had to do to lock in that win. But like, we know this team, this driver are capable of winning at random times. He's done it for years. Dillon has 5 career Cup wins, and they've all come, I think, in very timely fashion. Could do it again this year. Not betting on it, but he's done it before. I know better than to write off Austin Dillon. A few single car teams here. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has had a pretty solid year. 21st in points. That's good for that team. And he'd be better in points if not for the couple of run-ins with Carson Hocevar. Got wrecked at Nashville, got spun at Mexico City. So if that doesn't happen, I think Stenhouse is easily top 20 in points. And for a while there, looked like he was flirting with playoff contention. And that's pretty great. Stenhouse, the big difference this year, he's not making those classic Ricky mistakes. That's big. Hope he can keep that up. That's exactly what this small single car team needs. Cole Custer. I have a really interesting stat on Cole Custer, Haas factory team. Yes, he's 34th in points. Not good at all. But he was in the mix recently at Mexico City, scored a top 10. I saw that. Many of you probably saw that. Here's the stat though. First 9 races this season, Cole Custer's average finish 27.7. Pretty terrible, right? Well, his last 9 races, his average finish is 20th. More than 7 positions better. Okay, I'm not ready to say this team's going to win a race or even string together top 10s, multiple top 10s, but like, okay, Haas factory team, I was ready to write you off as a back marker, as a moving chicane. That's not the case. Not the way they've run the past 2 months. Well done. And then Cody Ware, Rick Ware Racing. I mean, they're last in points. This is the slowest full-time Cup Series car, no doubt. Cody Ware is not an amazing driver by any means, but I think he's better than this. I think he has very little to work with right now. Now the team is embroiled in a lawsuit off the track. They just sold to a new owner, but Rick and Cody Ware are staying on board. I don't really know what's going on over there. I know they're not getting any more competitive anytime soon. That's Cody Ware, Rick Ware Racing. Okay. Few more teams. We'll wrap up with Legacy Motor Club here. Eric Jones, dude, kind of like Chris Buescher. Dude is just solid. A 16th in the regular season points. And that's despite a DQ earlier this year. Could have gotten him a few more points. Jones will probably need to win to make the playoffs, of course, but that he's even in the playoff picture, considering how terrible Legacy Motor Club was last year, is impressive. The turnaround from Legacy Motor Club, year 1 with Toyota to year 2 with Toyota, is impressive. Awesome, I would say. John Hunter Nemechek, man, the Legacy cars were both like 30th place cars. Try saying that 5 times. 30th place plus cars last year. They were terrible back markers most of the year. But now, in 2025, they are 16th and 23rd in points. John Hunter Nemechek has more top 10s now than he did all of last season. So, it's a different looking team. It's not Petty GMS anymore. Maury Gallagher is out. Jimmy Johnson is in control. He's brought in some major business partners, financial partners. He's spending more time in the U.S. this year, a little more hands-on. I've seen him do a lot of media, a lot of press conferences. He's got a podcast now. He's out there spreading the word of Legacy Motor Club, pushing their vision, sharing their goals and expectations going forward. I love that my guy Matt Kenseth is working closely with the two drivers. Dustin Albino put out a great article this week talking about how Kenseth and Eric Jones have formed a strong bond. Kenseth has Jones supposedly in the best shape of Eric Jones's life, which is awesome to hear. And on track, this team has taken a step forward. They are, if we're looking at they are exceeding expectations so far this year. That's great to see. Hopefully they can get all the off-track drama sorted out by 2026. Kaulig Racing, we have 2 teams left, I believe. Kaulig Racing, we'll start with the veteran AJ Allmendinger, who has had a really good year, frankly. Top 10s at Homestead, Las Vegas. He was 4th in the Coca-Cola 600 in a Kaulig Racing Chevy. That is extremely impressive. He'd be right on the playoff bubble right now, if not for those 2 engine failures at Daytona and I think it was Kansas, my bad. I made a note of that and then totally ignored it. Allmendinger might be under the most pressure of anyone these next couple weeks, considering how the team has good speed. Allmendinger is a great road racer. Chicago, Sonoma, back-to-back weeks before long, Watkins Glen. Go get the job done. It's on AJ Allmendinger now. Go make the playoffs. Get Kaulig back into the playoffs. That would be a huge accomplishment. They are right on the cusp. Ty Dillon, meanwhile, his new teammate, in my opinion, has been about all you could ask for this year. He's 31st in points, which isn't great. Did just score his first top 10 of the year at Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's cool. Take advantage of others' misfortune. Finish the race. Do the job. His numbers, Dillon's numbers, look very similar to what Daniel Hemrick was doing in this same car 1 year ago. So, not blowing anyone away, but he's also not making a fool of himself, not putting the team in a bad spot. Ty Dillon's doing the job. He's doing exactly what they've asked him to do, in my opinion. We will wrap up now with Front Row Motorsports. This is a difficult team to talk about, especially Noah Gragson. This one's a head scratcher. They basically took Noah's Stewart-Haas Racing group from last season, moved them to Front Row Motorsports, but somehow they all got worse. 24th in points last year, 33rd in points this year. His average finish is 4 positions worse. Noah Gragson has talent. We've all seen it. But he also needs to be in the right environment. He used to talk about Kyle Busch Motorsports, KBM, wasn't the right environment. Junior Motorsports was. Petty GMS in Cup maybe wasn't the right environment. Not a great fit. But Stewart-Haas, with those other young drivers at the time, that was a really good fit. It feels like Front Row should be a good fit. Stewart-Haas Racing dies, but his same crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer, follows him over to Front Row. They have chemistry. They have experience together. I'm not a big Drew Blickensderfer fan, but he's been around a long, long time. He's got experience. It feels like this team should be better than 33rd in points, but lo and behold, here we are. Hard to say what's going on with Noah Gragson, and the rest of Front Row hasn't been fantastic either. Losing Michael McDowell in the offseason, that veteran presence, a winning driver, that's tough. Those are big shoes to fill. Todd Gilliland was under a lot of pressure, I think, coming into this year. He's the youngest driver on the team, but he is also the most senior Front Row Motorsports employee, at least among the drivers. Todd Gilliland's numbers are similar to last year, but I guess I was hoping for a slight improvement, considering he has crew chief Chris Lawson with him now. And I like Chris Lawson, but maybe like Haley, we've kind of overrated what Lawson did with Rick Ware Racing last year, but Lawson's won a truck title with Front Row and Zane Smith a few years ago. So I don't know. Todd Gilliland's having a fine season, but it's not quite as good as I was hoping to say. And Zane Smith, 25th in points, leads the way of the front row guys. His career has been a roller coaster. Was part-time with Junior Motorsports, then was in the truck series with GMS, and then with front row, right? There was a whole Ganassi deal that allegedly fell through. Then it looked like he had a future with Trackhouse, but then that disappeared a few months in. He finds himself back with front row in the Cup Series, and he's doing fine. Couple of top 10s, again, 25th in points, best on the team. Just the fact, though, that front row's best car is 25th in points is slightly disappointing. Just slightly disappointing. This is a very young team, young drivers, a lot of young crew chiefs out there, but I was hoping for a little bit better. Yeah. Anyway, that's wrapping it up. Those are my thoughts on front row. Every single NASCAR Cup Series team, driver so far. A halfway point, 18 weeks in checkup. Do you agree or disagree with my assessment, my expectations of your favorite driver? Let me know down in the comment section below. It's rare that I do one of these long form, lightly edited out of the groove episodes, but it's fun sometimes. It's fun to stretch my legs, stretch my vocal cords out a bit, and just chat with you guys here about what's going on in the NASCAR world. Thank you for watching. Not sure when I'll see y'all again, so have a happy 4th of July. Have a great celebration this weekend. Chicago Xfinity Cup, the street race is back. I can't wait to watch. I'll see you again real soon. Have a good one, folks. Thanks for watching.